It's a conference which is held in Brisbane, and it's the 14th of a series of conferences. It's held every 2 years, and the key focus is on researching, work and learning, how those two things go together. So while I understand you've got this first interest in the WASTE conference, that's another conference where you have people that come together to actually report their researches on how we link work and learning. Okay? And if you want any information about that, actually, if you just send me a message in my signature, I've got the link to that. But should you be interested, it's RWL14. It's pretty easy to find out. Anyways, look, it's been an absolute pleasure working with you. And it's been a very intense couple of days. And yesterday was equally as intense today, I think. But it's been a real pleasure working with you. And I've learned a lot. And I think this whole idea now of shifting a view from will being this, what you refer to as the traditional one, to this other model. And I see it having enormous implications. And I think this is the point that PB was saying. Because there is one very clear educational agenda which is not being fully addressed, and that is the continuing education and training of working age adults. Not just people leaving school and starting work, but this whole task of how do we keep the working age population, how do we keep the working age population, their employability, and people are working far longer, and during that longer working life, changes in occupational requirements and workplace competence is constantly changing. So you've got something here which I think, as PB is saying, has got legs on it that go far beyond what you're doing here. Okay, so thanks.
Yeah, and if I can add even, oh yes, please. And to support Stephen even further still, the need for continuous learning, given that the world is changing at an increasingly rapid pace, that need for continuous learning is more now than ever before, so that's particularly important. And I would also encourage you, and Stephen's been quite humble in the sense, go to Stephen's Google Scholar account, and you'll see a whole list of his publications. He is prolific, to say the least, so you see a whole lot of resources sitting there, so I encourage you to do that as well. We've talked about quality. Look, some general guidance about continuing the quality improvements of your program. Here are some suggestions on things to do, and they've already come up already during today. And there's like course appraisals, student feedback on the delivery of a course, and at the end of semester debriefing. It's important that the student voice comes into that, but it's also important that we respond to the student voice and that the student knows that. It's definitely important to have a regular cycle of review, and you have an office that focuses on that, and that review needs to be driven both internally, but every now and then you need external people to come in as part of that review, just to get fresh eyes into that space. I've been involved a few times with external people coming through, and I've been on the other end of it where externals came to our university, and it was just really insightful having those different eyes come on what your practice is. Highly encourage employer advisory boards. I know at our university in engineering they come and go. They are actually really valuable to have. It's not a way of have continuous employer voice coming through your program. Definitely encourage you to do research challenges, and we are research informed in that we're universities is research informed education. But you don't have to be a researcher to have research informed education or research informed practice, but you do need to be a consumer of research. So I really encourage you to read the literature, and we've got lots of material for you to read through as you so wish. I do suggest find examples of good practice, but as we keep saying, the practice that's here is unique. So what you want to be doing is find examples of good practice, pick out the bits that are relevant to here, and bring that across. But I don't think you can bring in a whole practice that's already in existence and bring that across because this program is too unique. I think you're in a space now, you're carving your own way forward. And it's important you make your own structures and frameworks as you do so. Definitely encourage you to attend conferences. For me personally, just about every single research partner I've worked with over the years, I've met them through a conference. And there's a lot of collaboration that takes place in that space. So Stephen's already suggested one conference, and I'm about to suggest the other, which you'll probably be aware of as well, but the conference is really important. And if you can host a conference or create a conference, it doesn't have to be international per se, it can just be a local one, just to bring the local universities and similar practices together. That alone already is helpful to do. Definitely encourage you to develop an institutional community of practice. And I actually think we have here a community of practice already, because you'll be interacting again in the future together. So if you can have a regular meeting or a gathering around a particular theme and discussing what your practices are, then you're developing that community of practice. And lastly, where I am in a lot of other countries, we have national associations for work integrated learning. And they've been really great at creating national conferences and a really great way of bringing people together and to collaborate. And one of the things that I've always been very fond of is that the work integrated learning community have always been a very sharing community and very supportive of each other. So you want to create that space as well. Now, India has 1 billion people, New Zealand has 5 million people, so the scale is quite different. So maybe regional associations and then build from there. But I think that BITS is well placed to start one of those national or regional associations. And I say that with some passion because Work Integrated Learning New Zealand, the New Zealand Association, was actually started by my university while I was still a student there, so I wasn't involved. And it was done so because they were leading the way in what was cooperative education, work integrated learning, and they really wanted to bring other universities along the way. So again, BITS is well placed to create something like that. The WASTE conference, if you've got an opportunity to come to the WASTE conference, that's in April, the 5th to the 17th this year. It is in New Zealand, it's a bit of a distance to travel, so I know everyone's not resourced to go, but if you have an opportunity to go, strongly encourage you to come to this conference. It is both the national conference for New Zealand and also the World International Research Symposium at the same time. So it's a combined event. And I would encourage you then to travel New Zealand afterwards because it's such a beautiful country to be exploring. And if you can travel that far, then take advantage. You hopefully all know about the International Handbook. I saw it floating. Look at this magnificent piece of work. Really encourage you to get a copy of that, either an e-copy or a physical one. It's a standard book and hold the door open on a windy day. There's a whole section on there on good practice, and I think you really enjoy that part. There's also a section on history and theories of learning and assessment, some challenging topics around risk and well-being and equity. So there's some good stuff sitting in there. A slightly smaller book is this one over here. It covers similar areas, but it's in a more compact version. And the International Journal for Work Integrated Learning, and definitely encourage you to visit that site. It's open access, anyone can access it, it's all free. There's a whole lot of materials in there that will be really good reading for you. Guides of good practice. I've got a collection of guides of good practice that will be useful. These are from various different countries over the last 10 years or so. I don't think it's much older than there. So all very relevant. But again, just contextualize it to the practice here, being clear in mind that the other practices are more of the classical practice of work integrated learning. And I had a series of references in my slides and a few more slides that we didn't see. So if you really want to have some, you won't be able to read this probably. Really want to have some good bedtime reading when we share the slides. You can pick out the references from here, and there's another page there as well. So that will keep you entertained for quite some weeks, I'd imagine. And we won't go to questions. So that brings me to an end. So my final words is, hey, be encouraged with the practice that you have. And I've been really encouraged by the level of information and knowledge and expertise that are in the room. And I think you're really well placed to carve ahead with the program and then to create, if you haven't already, an example of good practice in an Indian context. And to have that then communicated further across India as a national example of good practice, I think that would be really, really encouraging. Thank you all for your time and for your energy. And as Stephen said, it's been 2 full, long days, so I really appreciated the commitment and engagement. And I've learned a lot, and I hope everyone else here has as well. Thank you.